here at the Fire Safe Council meeting. Another commercial. We're going to need to get more cookies next month. Okay. All right, we're going to open this up to question and answer time. So Bruce, if you just be on the ready. Marilyn, you ready? All right. Our first question was right back here.
Right. Oh, yes. I had said, was any of this land actually on schedule to be burned down in a controlled burn?
No, we don't do controlled burns in this front country. No. So. Yes, sir.
My question's for Marilyn Diaz. I can't even tell you how many fires I've been through, but our first one was the first week we moved into Marlboro Terrace in 1975. And one of the things that I have found consistently happens in our neighborhood is before we have a response, we have looky-loos. And they make it difficult for the people who do live up there to do the work that they need to do to clear out or to make things safer, and obviously for the police department to respond, for the fire department to respond. And while I hate to make a suggestion that we limit ingress and egress to people, that I do think that it would be a responsible thing to do to set up roadblocks immediately and to limit ingress and ingress, not egress, but ingress for people who really don't belong up there, who have either got a party going on or camera gear or whatever it is, that they be moved to more appropriate areas to do that. And is that a possibility? Can we work ahead to block that kind of activity in the neighborhood?
Thank you for your question. That's an excellent question. And that did happen later on, once those neighborhoods were declared emergency evacuation areas. But what you're really asking is, could we have done that earlier?
Absolutely.
And prevented an
hours earlier.
Yeah.
As an example, I have a piece of property that's, my property line is the Mount Wilson Trail. About half of it is burned. I have 6 drivers in the family, plus a couple of collector cars up there. We couldn't get our own cars out of the driveway to move the collector cars out, to move any other gear out that we wanted. Whether you wanted to evacuate or not, it made it difficult. Plus the ingress and egress for the fire engines and the crews that we have. I really think that we probably could have had a much faster response with crews up there had we not had all the extraneous traffic that we had.
No, I think you're right, and that is something that we have critiqued and we will work on for next time. Your point's well taken, and I agree with you. We will work on that.
And that is something that we do consider, and we've talked about it at the pre-plan meetings for Fire Safe Council about locking up the canyons. It just takes manpower. As you noted, I mean, how many Sierra Madre cops did you see up there?
Well, on the other hand, to the Marlboro Terrace, there's only 2 ways to get.
Yeah. It takes a while to get that in place, but it is ultimately the plan is to lock down the canyons. Yeah, it just takes some time to get there. Yes, sir.
The question I have is, I noticed during the fire, I was calling the police station in order to try to get an update on what was going on. I live in the canyon. And that woman, that dispatcher or a series of people that were there were taking calls all the time. And she could have been a commercial announcer, how fast she was saying the same message. Would it be possible to create kind of like a diversion where in times like that they can say press number 1 for fire information? It might free up the line so that they can do other things during that period of time, or something along those lines, because they were way overworked, and we all had the same question.
Yeah, it happens every fire. All the dispatch lines are ringing and ringing, and I think eventually we did have that set up through the city's what you call the 7135 number. But again, depending on the size of the event and anticipation, it takes a little time to put that in. But that's one of the things that dispatchers will tend to have to deal with, is all the people calling it in. So, good point. Yes, ma'am.
I have 2 things I'd like to address. The first, And I'm really grateful for the positive that was done. I don't want to sound like a negative. I'm just looking at this critically, trying to think what could we do for the future. And I think Channel 3 being about 6 hours behind was really, really an area we could look at, because I live on Grove. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the fire, and if I didn't have Carolyn Brown on the cell phone, I wouldn't know what was going on. And I was not able to get into a car and go over there. And all my friends were in the canyon. I wasn't going to bother them. So, you know, I really think you need more updates, quicker and more accurate on Channel 3, because that's something a lot of people are going to be able to see. Whether they've got somebody's phone number or whether they can see the fire, y'all got a TV. My second point is I'm really confused. I've heard two different statements around town. Oh, hey, the good news is everything's burned out, and now we don't have to worry. And the other part I'm hearing is, no, there's still parts left. Which areas are in danger? Which streets?
That's pretty good. Well, your first question, it took time to get Channel 3 going. It was a weekend, and we had to activate the Sierra Madre EOC. So city staff had to be notified at home. Everyone responded in and got the EOC going. Eventually, Channel 3 got going. But you know, for a Saturday afternoon, it took a little time, and that is something maybe through the police department, or maybe there's a faster way we could do that. We'll definitely.
It needs to be updated more than every 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Literally, it was misinformation, so the best thing to have done with the channel at that time would have been to shut it off.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take note of that. We're taking notes tonight. So, and the parts of the town that are still threatened, the same parts that were threatened before the fire. Okay, we have 975 homes in the wildland area, and like I said during the presentation, brush abatement begins May 1st.
What is the wildland area? Can you show us that?
This map, coming from the east side of town, everything north of Carter, and then it comes down across Sturtevant, cuts through Las Rocas down to Grandview, goes across Grandview to Camillo, and heads north on Camillo to Arno. That's our current wildland interface zone.
They're not out of the way.
No. And we know from the brush fires of 2003 and 2007 that embers from brush fires can travel 3 to 4 miles. So that's part of, and you'll be hearing about this in the next few months. We're going to be coming to City Council in early June to discuss the hazard zone map and additional things that can be done to protect your home.